Hello friends, welcome to Bhavesh Sirki online class. Dear friends, welcome to exercise 23b. Again, this entire chapter, as we know, is dependent on the values, tabular values of standard angles. Question 1 says that, I have taken sub-question 1, sub-question 1 is to prove that or show that. We are supposed to prove in first sub-question as sine of a plus b is equal to sine of a into cos of b plus cos of a into sine of b, and they have mentioned the value of a as 60 and b as 30. If you remember, we did in the previous lecture, like whenever there is to prove question, instead of writing solution, you will be writing down word proof. You will take LHS first. Say it is sine of a plus b. LHS is the left hand side part of the equal to sign. Now I will substitute the values of a and b. It is given to us sine a. Instead of a, I can write it down 60. Instead of b, I can write it down as 30. Ultimately, it will be sine of 90, which is equal to 1. Sine 90 is 1. One should know. Some students may make an error like sine 60 plus sine 30. Do not make this error. This does not mean, I have seen few, this red, what I am writing is a wrong thing. Some of you write down like this. This is not multiplication of sine into the values. This is wrong. So be careful. Whenever there is a bracket, you have to add the values of the angles and then substitute the value. Right hand side says that sine a into cos b plus cos a into sine b. Now, as I told you, we have to first substitute the value sine a, that is sine of 60 degree, into cos of b, that is cos of 30 degree. Again, a value to be substituted as 60 and b value to be substituted as 30. If you remember the tabular values, then sine 30 will be given by root 3 upon 2. This will be given by half. This is also root 3 upon 2. Cos 60 is 1 over 2. Sine 30, it is in the form of multiplication. So you may be knowing root 3 into root 3 is 3. 2 2s are 4. Root 3 into root 3 will be 3. Plus 1 upon 4. And I told you in the previous lecture, you should know your addition subtraction of fractions very well. 3 over 4 plus 1 over 4 will be 4 over 4, which will be equal to 1. LHS's final value was 1. RHS is also 1. So my conclusion is that LHS equals RHS. This is the way you have to present this particular question. We shall take one more question, question 2, sub question 1. Over here, a value is given to us as 30. We are supposed to prove sine of 2a equals 2 times sine a cos a equals 2 10a over 1 plus 10 square a. Apparently very long to prove part, but let us see. It's not so difficult if you know the values of standard angles. Sine of 2a will become sine of 2 into 30, which will be equal to sine of 60 degree. And if you know this very well, it will be root 3 over 2. I am labeling this as 1 of the result we found out. Second part is given to us as 2 sine a into cos a, 2 into sine of 30 degree into cos of 30 degree. Again, understand this very well. This is 2a, that is 2 into 30. This 2 is preceding the sine. So this 2 will not be multiplying to this 30 nor to that 30. Fine. So 2 is an independent number over here. Now sine 30, if you know the tabular values, 1 over 2. And cos 30 is root 3 over 2. 2 and half gets cancelled. So your final value for this particular thing is root 3 over 2. So this is the second result. So in short, we have proved first two things equal because the final results are same as root 3 upon 2. Let us see the third part, and let me tell you, it's not so difficult but a little complex in calculation, and hence in previous video also I told you that you have to be very careful in your calculations. It states that 2 10a plus 1 upon 1 plus 10 square a. I am just writing down directly as 2 10 30 over 1 plus 10 square a. Now you observe what I am doing is 2 into 10 30, I know it as 1 upon root 3. My dear friends, this is the numerator part, and instead of writing denominator below, understand this very well what I am going to do. Now I have to substitute value of 30 over here, and instead of writing it below this, I am using the symbol divided by. I hope you are aware of this. X upon y can be written down as x divided by y. So now what will happen in the second part, that is in the denominator? 1 plus 10 square 30. 10 square 30 will be 1 upon root 3 the whole square. This is 2 over root 3 divided by 1 plus 1 over 3. This will be 2 over root 3 divided by 3 ones are 3 plus 1, 4 over 3. I told you should be very good at the calculation part. 2 over root 3. Now this division sign I am changing to multiplication, and whenever division changes to multiplication, the next ratio is written as a multiplicative inverse. So instead of writing 4 upon 3 divided by 4 upon 3, I'll write down multiplied by 3 upon 4. And if you are smart enough, then this 3 can be written down as root 3 into root 3. I hope you recall this particular concept, that a can be written down as root a into root a. If you do the cancellation, 1 root 3 gets cancelled, 2 ones are 2 twos are. So final value of this is also root 3 upon 2. So this will be your third result. Of course, you label it as third result. Your first result was root 3 upon 2. Your second result was root 3 upon 2. Your third result is also root 3 upon 2. In short, I can say first part equal to second part already proven, and third part is also root 3 upon 2. So we have proven from 1, 2 and 3. I can say sine of 2a equals 2 sine a cos a equals 2 into 10a plus 1 upon 10 square a. Now, as I told you, this is bit complex part. It's not difficult. Remember, it's not difficult. Only thing is you should know your basic concepts of fractions very well, because these values are not going to change. Only fractions calculation you should be good at it. And if you're not good at it, I would suggest you that practice it more, so you get it into groove of this trigonometry also. Trigonometry is not difficult, let me tell you. We shall see one more question from exercise 23b, question 3, where a and b values are given to us as 45, and there are two sub questions. Out of that, first sub question is prove that sine of a minus b equal to sine a into cos b minus cos a into sine b. As it is to prove, I am just writing down LHS, and as I told you, I should start with the word proof. LHS is sine a minus b. I have to substitute the value of a as well as b. If you remember, this is a bracket, so I have to complete the bracket operation first. 45 minus 45 is 0. Sine 0 is 0 from the tabular values. I will look at RHS, which is equal to sine A into cos B minus cos A into sine B. Sine A is sine 45. Cos B will be cos 45. A and B both are 45, so I have to substitute the values. From the table, if you observe it, sine 45 is 1 over root 2. Cos 45 is also 1 over root 2. 1 over root 2. 1 over root 2. This becomes 1 over 2 minus 1 over 2. Any number subtracted from itself is 0. So your RHS is 0. Your result for LHS also was 0. So ultimately I can say LHS equals RHS. My dear friends, this entire exercise is based on substitution of the values from the table. Only little difficult part at times you may feel is just the calculation part of the fractions, or sometimes these root questions you need to make that particular base strong. Otherwise, as I told you, this chapter is not so difficult and not at all difficult, let me tell you. Only the thing is, if your calculation with fractions are not so good, you may find it little difficult. Exercise 23b, question 4, sub question 3. Value of angle A is 30 degree. We are supposed to prove that cos of 2A is equal to cos raised to 4A minus sine raised to 4A. As usual, this is nothing else but proof, so I will write down proof. I'll take LHS, I'll write down cos 2A, I'll substitute the value of A. Value of A is given to us as 30 degree. So this will be cos of 60 degree. And if you look at the tabular values, then cos of 60 is nothing else but 1 over 2. Let us see RHS. Cos raised to 4A minus sine raised to 4A. Now this is cos raised to 4 and this is 30 degree minus sine raised to 4 30 degree. If you know the tabular values very well, this is nothing else but root 3 over 2 whole raised to 4 minus 1 upon 2 whole raised to 4. This is root 3 4 times. Remember, root 3 multiplied by root 3 multiplied by root 3 multiplied by root 3. I'm talking about this part, numerator of the first fraction. Root 3 into root 3 will be 3. This root 3 into root 3 will be 3. And if I multiply this, then ultimately it will be 9 over 2 raised to 4 is nothing else but 16 minus 1 raised to 4, one wonderful number, 1 raised to 4, 1, 2 raised to 4, 16. 9 minus 1 is 8 over 16. This is 1 over 2. So your RHS value, final value comes as 1 over 2. LHS also was 1 over 2. So what can I conclude here is LHS is equal to RHS. Key part, root 3 was to be multiplied 4 times. So root 3 into root 3 will produce 3. Root 3 into root 3 will produce another 3. Hence it will be 3 3s are 9. More question from exercise 23b, question 4, sub question 4. Again, A value is 30. We are supposed to prove that 1 plus sine 2A plus cos 2A whole divided by sine A plus cos A is equal to 2 cos A. Let us see. Again, this will begin with as proof. LHS 1 plus sine 2A will be sine 60. My dear friends, I am just using shortcut here. In exams, you write down in the standard format what I explained earlier. Sine 60 plus cos 60 over sine 30 plus cos 30. Now 1 plus sine 60 value is root 3 over 2, cos 60 value is 1 over 2, divided by, instead of writing this upon, I am just writing divided by. Sine 30 is 1 upon 2 and cos 30 is root 3 over 2. Now if you observe, this is only fraction where denominator is not same. So this can be written down as 2 over 2 plus root 3 over 2 plus 1 over 2 divided by root 3 plus 1 upon 2. You can even write down 1 plus root 3, but generally you will write down the bigger number first. Why root 3 is bigger number? Square root of 3 is 1.732. Now if you observe the first bracket, all of them are having same denominator. So I am writing 2. 2 plus 1, 3. So it will be 3 plus root 3 divided by, I'm just making little change. Instead of division, I'm writing multiplication. And whenever I change the division to multiplication, next ratio becomes as reciprocal. So 2 over root 3 plus 1. So what is your LHS now? How your LHS looks like? 3 plus root 3 over. This 2 and 2 gets cancelled. Root 3 plus 1. Another day we discussed like denominator, generally we do not keep it in a irrational form. This is an irrational number. I have to convert it into rational. So what I have to multiply? Its rationalizing factor. And whenever there is a binomial, its rationalizing factor is just multiplying by its same number, but changing their connecting sign. We shall learn what are they called as. They are called as conjugates. Once we start with chapter 1, you'll understand what is the meaning of conjugates. Now, here I am going to use identity root 3 square minus 1 square. Here if you know the concept of binomial multiplied by binomial, this 3 will multiply to root 3, so that is 3 root 3. This 3 will multiply to even negative 1, that is negative 3. Root 3 into root 3 is 3. This is root 3 into negative 1 will be negative root 3. Very important product. Fine. If you are having binomial into binomial, you will have 4 terms. Now if you observe it very carefully, negative 3 and positive 3 becomes 0. 3 root 3 minus root 3. Here nothing is there. That means you can consider it as 1. 3 root 3 minus 1 root 3 is nothing else but 2 root 3. And if you do the mental calculation, root 3 square minus 1, root 3 square is 3, minus 1 is 2. So this 2 and 2 gets cancelled. Here answer will be root 3. That is LHS's value is root 3. Now if I look at RHS, this is RHS, 2 into cos A. Cos A value is 30. So 2 into cos 30 value is root 3 over 2. Tabular value of cos 30 is root 3 over 2. This 2 and 2 gets cancelled. Your RHS, this is nothing else but RHS. RHS equals root 3. And this was a big calculation, root 3 over here. Fine. So our conclusion is LHS equal to RHS. What is important takeaway? Here, as I told you, calculation of the fractions. Here, we cannot keep the denominator as irrational number. So we are trying to rationalize the denominator. For binomial, if you want to rationalize it, then you have to change the connecting sign, root 3 plus 1. So root 3 minus 1. And the rule says that if you are multiplying denominator by some number, you have to multiply numerator also by the same number. You're opening up the bracket, you're doing the calculation, you get root 3. And RHS is also root 3. That's all. Question 4, sub-question 7. I have not mentioned sub-question number. Sub-question number 7. 23B exercise. So big LHS and we are supposed to prove equal to 3. Dear friends, what I am doing, there are 2 fractions in the LHS. I will simply solve first one. Once calculation of first one is over, then only I will open up the second one. First one says that cos cube A, that is cos cube 30 minus cos 3A, that is 3 into 30 over cos A. Now if you know cos 30 value, it is root 3 over 2, the whole cube, minus cos 3 into 30 is 90. So cos 90 is nothing else but 0. Divided by cos A. Cos A, as I told you, it will be replaced by 30 over here. So it will be divided by root 3 over 2. I told you I am just going to check the first fraction first. Now, this is 0 is a boon for us. No need to do much calculation. 2 cube is 8, so denominator is 8. Square root of 3 raised to 3. I'm just explaining you by side. Cube of square root of 3 is nothing else but this, and we know this 2 will give us product as 3. This root 3 will remain as it is. So here cube of square root of 3 is 3 root 3. Minus 0, as I told you, nothing to worry about it. But here, instead of division, what I will do is multiply, and whenever I change division to multiplication, next ratios, multiplicative inverse has to be written down. Root 3 and root 3 will get cancelled. 2 1s are, 2 4s are. So your reduced form of the first fraction has final value is 3 upon 4. Remember, question is not yet over. Question is not yet over. Why it is not over? Because we have just solved the first fraction. Let us see what does the second fraction say. It is sine cube a, that is sine cube 30 plus sine 3a divided by sine a. Sine cube 30, sine 30 is half, so this will be half cubed plus 3 into 30 is 90, sine 90 is 1, so this is 1, divided by, upon is divided by sine a. Sine a is nothing else but sine 30, it is half, let me tell you, this was sine 90, hence this is 1. Sine 30 will be half. Now here is a little trickier calculation for you. This is 1 upon 8 plus 1 divided by 1 upon 2. 8 ones are 8 plus 1, 9 upon 8 multiplied by, this division I am making multiplication, so this will be 2 over 1, 3 over 4 as it is, plus 2 ones are, 2 4s are, so this becomes 9 over 4, which is equal to 12 over 4, which is equal to 3. If you look at your right hand side, it is already 3. And let me tell you again, it's not a difficult question, only how to make use of the brackets, how to make use of calculation of the fractions. If you are not very well aware, you will require little more practice for that. That's all from this chapter.